AI is so like hammered in front of everyone's face, right? Everyone's talking about it. Even like kids' schools are telling the parents about it. Like it's it's everywhere, and it makes a lot of people feel uncertain about all kinds of different things, right? And specifically, she said like when information is like free and infinite with Chat GPT or AI or whatever, what actually has value in this industry? And an interesting example, I asked her to like elaborate a bit, and she said, for example, there was a lot of women in her community that their point of differentiation used to be making a beautiful ebook,
Mm.
like just being able to get the graphics pretty, or or making pretty graphics. It Things like that used to give you an edge, right? But now that anyone can kind of produce graphics or PDFs or whatever, like what actually is the value in this world?
Um, I'm interested to hear what you have to say, but I will answer first. Um, I think so. First off, just for everyone, information has been free for a very long time. So this is not new. There's this great thing called the internet, and people could search for information, and it was readily available. So what appears to be this like crazy thing, like how could we hide or put information behind a paywall when it's so readily available? I had a professor, one of my favorite professors in college, who said he was a career consultant, and he said, consulting is basically like sitting next to a river with a cup in hand and taking a cup out and then handing it to someone and charging them for it. And I've always remembered that kind of visual. And so a lot of the information component is when there is infinite information, the value is in the selection and curation because no one has the time to consume all of it to figure out what's good. And so at the end of the day, most of the time we are always selling time, a compressed time. Like when you see a year of dating in 10 minutes, it's like it's a time compression. People are like, oh, this is a good deal for my time. And so things that make things faster, things that make things easier, are things that typically people will just aggregate towards. And so removing friction from people's lives will always be something that humans will go towards. Now, AI has done a lot of that for sure, but like we can still there's still value to be given to people by your specific way of doing something. So I'll just say that like big picture, that's number one. The second component is, which might be like teased out from her question, is like what things are valuable, and obviously we're talking school here. So like what things are valuable within the context of community, and so uh, if the things that AI can do will replace things that humans can do over time, I don't think anyone's really arguing that. And so we just have to ask the question, like, what things can humans do that AI can't do? Which that number gets smaller, right? But people in a world that everything is fake will probably crave realness and authenticity more than anything else. And so having a community of real people going through real, struggles and problems, et cetera, and then sharing that, I think will always be valuable. And if anything, more valuable in the future. I mean, fundamentally, like we're making a very big bet on it because we believe that. So that's thing one. Now, underneath of that, it's whatever you teach, there's typically some element of it that's like, here's my way of doing something. And then there's some element that is consumable within that community. So community itself is consumable. Like if you had community last month, it's not like this month you're like, well, I don't want community anymore. You still want community, right? So you consume that product, if you will, month over month over month. Um, Now, there's different examples of like what other things. Now, this is going to be kind of niche specific to whatever your thing is. Can someone, after they understand my way of thinking or my process or my method or whatever, how can they? What are the inputs of that system? And so, in the gym launch world, it was like we delivered ads. That was the inputs of the system. We would go test ads. We'd figure out the ads winners, and we'd say we already showed you how to run them and how to sell people once they came in. But the input was the ad. There's a 3D printing community. Their input was they go look at trending products and they're like, okay, we've already taught you how to go 3D print our way. Here's the trending products for the week or the month. And so people were like, that's consumed because next month they'll be different. There was a wholesale guy who was in here with really good retention. His thing was his team would go search for different homes that were potentially good deals, all the numbers penciled out. And then all people had to do was just go there. And if they walked in and it looked good, then they would buy it. But next week it's going to be different. There's financial guys who do stock pick. You get the idea here. Is that like you have to just think, what is the consumable portion of the value that I can help create, and separate that out from like maybe the one-time component. So some of you guys sell courses, some of you guys sell webinars, things like that, through school, and that is a one-time value which you can charge whatever the relative value is to the person. after that, the value has to be significant. Like typically, the value will be smaller because it's only based on what is consumable. And so, just making sure that that is priced appropriately, I think, will help a lot of people get better retention in your communities. And so, yeah, I think there's tons of stuff that still has value. Like you still have friends. You still are, many of you are married or have spouses, things like that. AI has not replaced that. And I think if anything, like the desire for true humanness will only go up. Like people have never been more lonely in the age of social media. What was supposed to connect us has separated us. And so I think having, the platform for communities, I mean, our whole goal is to make it, real.